Hello again. I am Bear Wiseman with Tuonela Magazine, and I am back again once more to help you get to know Franco Gravante, the bassist from Classless Act.
Hi everyone, how's it going?
As I understand, you're not actually American. You're the foreigner of the band, originally from Argentina. So, how long have you been living in the U.S. now?
Well, I came here when I was 20, so like 6 years ago already. Damn, time flies actually. But yeah, 6 years ago.
What brought you to the US? I understood that you were doing some touring, of course, when you initially joined Classless Act, but what brought you for the first time to the US?
Well, I was in this Argentinian band, and we had this like self-booked tour in Los Angeles. Then, I came here and I found out that there was nothing booked. Our singer was kind of crazy, and he kind of like tricked us into getting here to the country. So, we came here with like tourist visas and stuff, and we just started like playing wherever we could, wherever they let us play. And then we made a few connections. We came back a year after that as well. But that band didn't last. We broke up. Just some uh internal conflicts. As you can imagine. But right before we broke up, I met these guys. They were looking for a bass player, so I just music is the reason why I came here, and why I'm doing what I do.
That does kind of lead directly into my next question, as when I did my first interview with Derek, he said that kind of Classless Act stole you from another band, that you discovered Classless Act on tour with another act, and
That I was up for grabs.
fair enough. So, how old were you when you discovered a love of music and playing and performing?
I would say around. I started playing guitar and all that stuff at 10, but like my parents used to have this greatest hits Queen record, and I remember listening to that. My brother showed it to me. I remember listening to that when I was 8 or 9, something like that. The first years of going to school and all that stuff. Um, so yeah, I would say about 7, 8 years old for sure. My brother had this um, cassette player. So I would like discover bands like AC/DC, the Police, and all that stuff.
I read from your bio that was it an AC/DC show that really left an impact on you when you were young?
Oh yeah, I saw the legendary AC/DC live at River Plate,
Mm.
in Argentina. Yeah, that was my first show actually. I think I was like, I don't know, 12. I don't remember. But watching all the people, jumping at the same time and singing the songs, it was like a whole concert culture that definitely did it for me.
Mm.
And that show was amazing. They killed it.
As I understand, you kind of consider yourself maybe a bit more of a guitarist than a bass player necessarily. So, how did you end up as the bass player in Classless Act?
Well, fun enough, I never played guitar in a band because they're always looking for a bass player. So I'm like, I can play bass. But I do enjoy it. I love it. I love playing bass. Guitar sometimes is more fun, but bass can be really fun too, man. It's
Mm.
really enjoyable. But my first instrument and everything, my first love was the guitar.
Well, with that in mind, bass isn't necessarily considered the most stimulating of the rock band instruments. So, is there anything that you do to keep the bass lines fun rather than just, plucking a couple notes to keep the rhythm?
Look, I mean, as long as it serves the song, as long as the song sounds good, that's our job, man. I mean, you can have fun with it. You can be creative. You can add some distortion, effects. You can come up with cool bass lines. You can base a whole song into a bass line as well. But it depends on the situation, depends the song, depends on what you actually want to do and what benefits the band. So I'm happy just by doing that. If we sound good, I'm good.
So, who are some of your all-time favorite bass players then?
Definitely the guy that made me want to play bass for sure is John Deacon. Like Queen's my favorite band, so
Mm.
his basses were like amazing. Um, then I don't know, like Sting, all those bands. I don't have like a particular set of bass players I love. I just, I'm very random when it comes to that. But definitely John Deacon was like the person that most influenced me to learn how to play bass.
Mm.
Till this day, I hear some of the bass lines, I'm like, damn, that's amazing.
Well, what about bass lines and songs then? Do you have any songs that stand out for really amazing, memorable bass lines?
Um, well, probably Hysteria by Muse. That's a classic at this point. Um, Millionary Waltz by Queen. Um, I don't know, probably some Queens with Stone Age there somewhere. There's a couple for sure.
Well, with that in mind, I know most of you guys play a few instruments, so is there any instrument that you can't play that you'd really love to play or that you'd love to implement into a Classless Act song?
I am terrible at all the wind instruments like saxophone, flute, and all that stuff. I would really love to play saxophone. I tried, I didn't succeed, and I traded for a guitar. That's what
I
happened.
I hear that happens fairly commonly even.
It's hard, but it sounds so good if you know how to do it.
Well, as I understand as well, you're big into food and cooking, which makes a lot of sense coming from South America, where the food culture is supposed to be fantastic. So, how do you like American food?
Oof. No, I like it. I like it. Like I can always appreciate a good burger or stuff like that. Um, I'm just very used to the Argentinian type barbecue,
Mm.
with like charcoal and it's a slightly different cuts of meat. I just can't do gas grills, man. It just kills me every time inside.
Yeah, there's one cut that we find here. I think that's called picanha. That's
Oh yeah,
quite popular. I think I learned about this from a Brazilian fellow
yeah,
that's not very commonly used in other places, but quite popular in South America.
yeah. It's really good. And the thing in South America with the meat, compared to, for example, the US, is that it's like so much cheap. You can actually like buy it and don't feel guilty about it.
Mm. Uh, um, Another thing I read in your bio was that A Clockwork Orange had a big effect on you. So, what was the experience encountering that for the first time, and what kind of feeling did it instill in you?
Well, I think I read the book first, or no, I saw the movie first. I was like probably like 15, 16, that age when you're discovering those edgy movies, maybe seeing The Wall or The Shining and all that stuff. Um, it was kind of impactful, but like, I mean, I never seen anything like that before, right? So I was kind of shocked, but at the same time, I went past that, the first scenes when it's kind of like ultra violent and all that stuff, and it's a good movie, man. It's a great movie. I haven't seen it in a while, actually. I tried to show it to one of the band members on tour, and I didn't succeed at that. Yeah, I was allegedly I was stopping the movie every like 2 minutes to explain.
Have there been any other movies or shows or songs even that left a huge, memorable impact on you or that kind of changed who you are?
That's a good question. Um, I don't know. Just movies. Certain movies remind me, and certain songs as well remind me of a time, when I was, because when I like something, I tend to watch it or listen to it like a lot, nonstop, like bothering everyone. I don't care. I just like it. I want to listen to it like 10 times in a row. Um, so after doing that, it kind of like whenever you hear that song or watch a movie years after, it just reminds me of a place where I was, you know.
Hmm.
Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, but I don't know. I think like mostly bands, changed my life a little bit. Like again, Queen and all that stuff. I haven't watched a movie in a while. I feel like a movie that I'll be like, oh, that was a great movie. I watched Tyson's movie last night, but that didn't do it for me.
Hmm. As I've been slowly learning through these interviews, Classless Act seemed like it was kind of a whole other band, and then your final form, so to speak, kind of slowly came in and replaced all the original members. So when you joined, I think Dane was already in the band. Was anyone
Yeah.
else already in there, or were you the second to join in?
From this formation, yeah, I was the second one. They joined them like maybe 2 weeks before I joined.
So how
Yeah,
did they discover you then?
it's kind of normal, like every band goes through a phase and process, especially when they just starting, until they, find out who they really are. We still trying to find out that, like discovering it through every album, which I think is great. And I think it's a natural thing that should happen in every band. Not every album can be exactly the same thing, in my opinion. It could, but I wouldn't like that, always, like in the same vein of, rock music, stuff like that. But I would always like to do something different, each time that we have a chance, a possibility.
Talking about the songs then on Welcome to the Show, I understand that actually it was like it's a very collaborative process for you guys, but I think I've been kind of told that it was largely you and Derek who did a lot of the main songwriting for at least the songs that are on this album. So uh, I think All That We Are was definitely one that was heavily accredited to you. So tell me a little bit about some of the songs and how they came to life.
Well, I mean, I think we said this before, like we had this whole album written and then the pandemic hit, and then we were like, let's rewrite it, man. We can do better than this. And I wasn't really writing at that time until that happened, because I really didn't know how too much, Um, but I remember talking with my manager. He was like trying to explain us royalties and stuff like that. And I did a question, and he's like, "It doesn't matter because bass players don't write songs anyway." And that fucking stuck with me. And you'll see. I love you though. I love you to death. Uh, but that really was like something that helped me, to get into the world of songwriting, and like writing with some other people also like did open my eyes a lot. And I always admired Derek. So that's just watching him work is also very inspiring. And sometimes I just go back home and start fooling around with some ideas, and like I have like a little home studio setup, with just two speakers and a keyboard, and I've been like kind of like mixing for like 10 years now, so I'm like I can like do a song in like a couple hours, like kind of like finish, with bass and drums and all that stuff. So that's what's kind of like the process. I was like the demo part of it. And then I take it to the guys, like we work on it. That's pretty much how it goes. It's very simple, nothing complicated, but it's fun. I love it. It's probably the thing that I love to do the most is writing songs.
Did you do any of the lyric writing on the album?
And some of them, like "Hunting Love" and "Thoughts from a Dying Man," those are um, pretty much all my lyrics. And then help in a few of them, but like it's kind of tough for me because I haven't stopped reading in a while. Especially I never read anything in English, so I think that's a plus. If you're writing lyrics in English, so it's not like my first language. It's not an excuse, but like it's not as easy for me as it would be maybe coming up with a song or something or a melody. But I try, and um, you know, I just have to keep doing it and getting better at it.
I know that Thoughts from a Dying Man is in the fan club, a lot of people talk about that song being just so haunting and beautiful and all of that. So, what inspired that song? What kind of gave you the spark for that idea?
That song, let me get it. That song, it was like a mix of moments, like once I had like this panic attack back in Argentina and I thought I was dying, like um I had that feeling that no one will remember me. I don't know, something stupid like that. It wasn't stupid, but it was like years ago. I don't know why I was thinking that honestly. But like it definitely stayed in my head, that feeling. And then one morning a couple of years ago, that's the first one I wrote for the band, by the way. A couple of years ago, I just woke up and I just, I had all day for myself. There was no one in the house. And I was like, well, I write a song about, this, but, like, didn't have any lyrics yet or anything. So just sat on the piano and started writing it. The original name was Deathbed, actually, but it was kind of tough, so we had to change it.
Love it. It's such a good album closer, just with that final kind of mellow darkness. It works really well.
I'm honestly grateful for the label to let us put a song like that on the album because I don't know many labels that will let you do that. I think like it's kind of like a weird song.
Yeah, well, I love it. I love the album because it's got a fairly consistent sound, but it's also very diverse at the same time. And I think that probably comes from all of you guys being such talented songwriters and working so well together that it's just got a lot of flavor to it.
Yeah, I did suffer like a bunch of changes in production, all that stuff. So live, I mean, we like the way it is, right? But live, we played more like how the OG demo was that we might release one day.
You were just on this huge tour, and right before that you were on another tour, and before that you were the house band in like was it a bar or restaurant or so what was that like to kind of go from the house band to the like club tour to the stadium tour?
To me, it's always the same, dude. To me, it's just the same to play in a stadium or in a shrimp bar or whatever we were playing. Grateful for that, by the way. It really helped. It really helped. I mean, we play 4 hour shows in those house band thing, and it really like help us, like play more with ourselves as bandmates. Like 4 hours nonstop.
Mm.
Every 2 weeks. It was great. It really solidified the group, and the musicianship of every member. Um, but yeah, to the other question, like to me, it's the same to play in that bar, the stadium tour, or another tour or whatever. Um, it's always the same feeling. It's always great, and it doesn't matter where you are. Sometimes you have more space to move. I give you that, but besides that, that's it.
Mm. So you don't mind staying in cheap motels and eating, food from the gas stations versus the fancier stadium stuff. All good.
I mean, a little bit, but but it's not. It's not. It's rock and roll, man. You just gotta do it. It's fine. It's part of the process.
Hey, Muffin.
I'm on the chair. Damn, he's not supposed to do that. He just had surgery. Dude, chill. He feels good, apparently.
Is he recovering smoothly? He's doing okay?
Yeah, his ass got bitten. I don't
Oh.
know if that's gross, but infected, and he's, dealing with some shit, but he's doing good, man. There's like a bunch of people helping me and supporting me for that moment, like donations and stuff like that. I'm really grateful for that. But he's doing fine. Thanks.
That's good. That's a relief. For anyone who doesn't know, Muffin is the cat from the Give It To Me music video. So
Yeah, he was like 1 year old when I put in the video. He didn't love it, but it was.
well, he did a great job. So
It was like a professional.
Considering we're doing these interviews to try and help you guys get a little more exposure over in Europe, have you ever actually been to Europe before?
No, no. I only been to Canada just because of the other tour we did for like 1 day. That's it. I only know the US and Argentina. I would love to go to Europe. It looks fun.
Is there anywhere here that you'd be particularly excited to come see?
I would like to go to France for sure. Some of the museums and all that stuff. And Italy maybe because I'm like half Italian. You
Oh,
know, yeah. Want to see where my dad grew up, or where he was born actually. And probably Germany. I'm sure they have great beer over there. So that'll be.
naturally. I hear Belgium's also the place to go if you want. Germany is the place for traditional beer, and Belgium's the place for weird beer. So,
I'm more a traditional guy,
excellent.
but I'm down to try everything.
Well, to wrap things up, I have been asking everyone if you could pass on some message to make the world a better place, to just make things a little bit better for everyone, what would that be?
Oof. I don't know if I am how do you say qualified to answer that question. But I don't know. Just people should be more honest, and I think that would solve a lot of problems. That's why I like to live my life, and seems to be working so far.
Well, I'm about out of time now, so thank you so much for doing this. It's awesome to get to talk to you guys one on one, and best of luck getting over here.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It was a great interview.